For over a century, the Panama Canal has stood as the linchpin of global shipping, a marvel of engineering that forever changed the way goods move around the world. Its locks and channels have connected oceans, economies, and cultures, making it one of the most important waterways in human history. The canal has also been a powerful symbol of American influence, representing not just technical prowess, but also the reach of U.S. power and ambition throughout the 20th century. But now, a new challenger emerges on the horizon: the China-backed Nicaragua Canal. This ambitious project is poised to shake up the established order. This isn't just another infrastructure project, it's a bold, strategic move that could rewrite the rules of global trade and international politics, shifting the balance of power in ways we're only beginning to imagine. The idea of a second canal slicing through Central America has lingered for centuries, tempting empires and entrepreneurs alike. Today, with new technology and global ambitions, it feels closer than ever before. China's vast ambition, deep pockets, and growing expertise in mega projects make this a credible threat to the status quo, challenging the dominance of the Panama Canal. The Nicaragua Canal promises a wider, deeper, and faster route between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, potentially dwarfing the original Panama Canal in both scale and capacity. It could accommodate the world's largest ships, opening new possibilities for global commerce. Its construction would be one of the largest engineering feats in history, requiring unprecedented resources, manpower, and international cooperation. The implications are truly global, impacting not just trade and politics, but also the environment, local communities, and the very nature of international relations. In this series, we'll explore the Panama Canal's enduring dominance, why it's now being challenged, and what China's ambitious project could mean for the future of the world economy. This is about more than concrete and water. It's about power, influence, and the future of our interconnected world, where every new passage can reshape destinies. The real question isn't just if the canal can be built, but what happens when it is, how it will transform economies, alliances, and the very flow of global trade. As ships pass through this new passage, they may be carrying not just cargo, but the seeds of a new global order, one that could redefine the world as we know it. The Panama Canal, completed in 1914, revolutionized global trade by providing a shortcut between the Atlantic and Pacific. It's a vital artery. About 6% of world trade passes through its locks each year, with 2/3 tied to U.S. ports. The U.S. controlled the canal for most of the 20th century, cementing its strategic and economic power. Panama took over in 1999, running the canal efficiently and expanding it in 2016 to handle larger ships. The expansion doubled capacity, keeping the canal relevant for modern shipping. Yet, even with upgrades, the canal faces new threats. Climate change has brought severe droughts, forcing restrictions and delays. These vulnerabilities expose the risks of relying on a single passage for global trade. As world commerce grows, the need for an alternative becomes more urgent. The Panama Canal's dominance is no longer guaranteed. China's interest in building a canal through Central America is not just a recent development, but part of a broader, long-term vision to reshape global trade routes and enhance its strategic reach. This ambition is a natural extension of China's global strategy, aiming to secure vital maritime corridors and reduce dependence on existing routes controlled by other powers. The proposed Nicaragua Canal, heavily backed by Chinese investment, would stretch an impressive 278 kilometers, making it more than 3 times the length of the famous Panama Canal, and potentially revolutionizing shipping in the region. Engineered to accommodate the world's largest ships, the canal would cut a path across southern Nicaragua, passing through Lake Nicaragua and transforming the local landscape and economy. Despite an estimated $50 billion price tag and repeated delays that have fueled skepticism, both the Nicaraguan government and Chinese investors remain steadfast in their commitment to the project, seeing it as a transformative opportunity. For Beijing, the canal represents much more than a profitable infrastructure project. It's a strategic move to secure global supply chains, expand its influence in the Western Hemisphere, and assert itself as a dominant force in international trade. The legal framework for the project grants China's HKND Group a 50-year concession to operate the canal, with the possibility of extending it for another 50 years, effectively giving China a century-long stake in the region. Although actual construction has yet to begin, the strategic rationale behind the canal only grows stronger as global trade dynamics evolve and competition intensifies. China views this project as a long-term investment, a bold move that goes far beyond immediate commercial returns and signals its intent to shape the future of global logistics. If completed, the canal would stand as a powerful symbol of China's emergence as a global maritime power, capable of influencing trade flows and geopolitical balances. As the world watches closely, the question remains: will this ambitious vision become a reality, or remain just a bold idea on paper? The biggest difference between the Panama and Nicaragua canals is scale. The Nicaragua canal would be much longer, wider, and deeper, able to handle ships too large for Panama's expanded locks. This could be a game changer for energy and container shipping, allowing the world's largest vessels to transit directly. Panama's lock-based system relies on fresh water, making it vulnerable to drought. The Nicaragua Canal would use Lake Nicaragua, raising its own environmental and engineering challenges. For many ships, Panama's shorter route remains preferable, but for megaships, Nicaragua could offer big savings. Competition would likely drive down tolls and increase efficiency for both canals. The choice would depend on ship size, route, and cost. A second canal would reshape the market for maritime transit. A second transoceanic canal would fundamentally alter global trade routes. Ports and logistics networks have long been built around Panama's constraints. A Nicaragua canal, able to handle the largest ships, would shatter those limits. Energy markets would shift as massive oil tankers could take shorter, cheaper routes between oceans. US shale and Venezuelan crude could become more competitive in Asia. Container shipping would see a surge in megaships, making direct Asia to US East Coast routes more attractive. This could divert cargo from West Coast ports, reshaping US logistics. The new canal would add redundancy, reducing the risk of disruptions from climate or political instability. Global supply chains would become more resilient, but also face intense competition and adjustment. The world's trade map would be redrawn. The stakes are high for every major trading nation. The future of shipping could look very different. The economic fallout of a new canal would create clear winners and losers, reshaping the balance of global trade and power in ways that are both predictable and surprising. Panama, long the gatekeeper of interoceanic shipping, would face direct competition for the first time in a century. This rivalry would likely force Panama to lower its lucrative tolls, invest in new technology, and innovate rapidly to stay relevant in a changing market. The country's economy, which relies heavily on canal revenues, could be pressured to diversify as shipping companies weigh their options. China, as the project's primary backer and financier, stands to gain significant strategic and economic advantages. Lower shipping costs for Chinese goods, thousands of new jobs for its companies, and a stronger foothold in the Americas would all boost China's global influence. The canal could also serve as a symbol of China's growing role in international infrastructure and trade. The United States would experience mixed effects. East Coast ports could benefit from cheaper imports and increased shipping traffic, potentially revitalizing local economies. However, West Coast ports and the vast rail networks that connect them to the rest of the country might lose business as shipping routes shift, threatening jobs and investments in those regions. America's strategic grip on the region, long anchored by its influence over the Panama Canal, would inevitably weaken, raising concerns about security and regional alliances. For Nicaragua, the canal is pitched as an economic savior, promising tens of thousands of jobs, new infrastructure, and a path out of poverty for many citizens. The government touts the project as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for national development and global relevance, but critics warn that most benefits would flow to Chinese firms and local elites, leaving ordinary Nicaraguans with debt, displacement, and environmental damage. Concerns about deforestation, water pollution, and loss of farmland have sparked protests and international scrutiny. The concession terms, which grant sweeping powers to foreign investors, raise serious questions about Nicaragua's sovereignty and long-term control over its own resources. The project could double Nicaragua's GDP and transform its economy, or it could leave the country with little to show but lost land, polluted water, and a mountain of debt. The stakes are enormous for all involved, with billions of dollars and the future of global shipping on the line. The canal's impact would ripple across the Americas and beyond, affecting trade, politics, and the environment on a global scale. Who wins and who loses depends on how the project is managed and who really controls it. With so much at stake, dodar ben como de quien say, We denker sober d. In deber bar barber almam one. But beardy, but dollar is watching every move, waiting to see how this bold gamble will play out. A Chinese-backed canal in Nicaragua would be a geopolitical earthquake. For 2 centuries, the US has considered Central America its sphere of influence. The Panama Canal symbolized this dominance. Now, China's presence in the region challenges that order. Washington fears the canal could be used for Chinese naval movements, shifting the balance of power. Security concerns loom, especially if Chinese personnel are stationed to protect the project. For China, the canal is both a tool of influence and a showcase for its Belt and Road ambitions. Regional alliances could shift as neighbors weigh economic opportunities against old loyalties. The canal would become a permanent fixture in the new great power rivalry. The Western Hemisphere's geopolitical landscape may never be the same. The Nicaragua Canal's environmental cost is staggering. The route would cut through rainforests, wetlands, and indigenous lands, threatening endangered species and vital ecosystems. Lake Nicaragua, the region's largest freshwater source, faces contamination and saltwater intrusion from massive dredging. Tens of thousands of people, many from indigenous communities, could be displaced, sparking protests and human rights concerns. The government's response has often been harsh, deepening local resentment. Critics argue the environmental and social risks far outweigh the promised economic gains. The project could leave Nicaragua with irreversible ecological damage and little real benefit. In an era of climate awareness, the canal's environmental toll is a major obstacle. China's green credentials would face global scrutiny. Is the economic prize worth the ecological price? Many say no. The Nicaragua Canal stands as a symbol of shifting global power. It challenges a century of US dominance and the singular importance of the Panama Canal. If built, it could redraw shipping routes, create new economic winners and losers, and deepen the US-China rivalry. For Nicaragua, it's a gamble. Potential prosperity at the risk of environmental disaster and lost sovereignty. The project faces huge financial, logistical, and social hurdles. Yet, with China's backing and Panama's vulnerabilities exposed, the idea feels more plausible than ever. The world is watching to see if this vision can overcome its obstacles. The story of these 2 canals is about the future of global power, commerce, and the environment. As of November 2021, as ein Bestandig Sitzam, the money 25, as a Menschendienst bei der Budan ein Seite Stuandostein. Avani 20. 580 story chapter is unwritten. The question remains, will the next century be defined by 1 Isthmian canal or 2?